Good day folks, the Pro Audio Journalist here. The only 2 tips for achieving professional level mixes. I would like to start by saying that it's really going to take a conscious effort to get to a professional level in this game. What I can promise you is that you will hear fast and considerable improvement if you stick to these tips. If you want to progress to a higher standard, then you need to introduce active learning sessions. Simply opening a session and mixing it, although any practice is good practice, is not an active learning session in my opinion. It's good to practice, but let's aim for great practice. You need to introduce goals for it to be an active learning session. For example, goals may be learning a new technique and incorporating it in a mix, watching a tutorial from your favorite mixer, closely matching reference mixes, or matching other production styles. There needs to be a goal. You really need to dedicate yourself to an active learning session quite regularly for growth and also to stay relevant in this game. Which brings me to my first tip, referencing and matching production styles. Saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to play a record today and I'm going to critically listen and take some notes and then try to mix in that production style. This is an example of an active learning session. This process really relies on you having critically listened to the reference record. There are certainly good reasons to critically listen to your reference record several times to really absorb the nuances of the mix decisions. Don't rush this process. Then I would find a suitable multi-track and consciously mix it in this production style. While mixing, make sure you reference the record regularly. Load a few tracks into your session and use something like Metric AB from Plugin Alliance to switch between your mix and the reference material. Metric AB is great because it allows you to volume match the mixes. This is really important for getting the frequency response right. A decibel meter is also great in this situation. I have a video on the benefits of having a decibel meter in your monitoring rig. It really lets you know what is expected of your mix at a specific decibel level. I'll link the video below. Now my advice is switch back to the reference material more often than you think you have to. It's very easy to assume you have this covered, only to mix for half an hour and realize you're in a completely different place to matching your goals. Really set out to match the EQ curves, compression behavior, and effects. FabFilter Pro Q4 is great for this as it has a match EQ feature. Find sections of the songs where an instrument is isolated and use match EQ to gain insight into EQ moves. If you know what gear they were using, it's worth trying to replicate that too, considering plugins are so great these days. For example, if you know they were mixing on a Helios console, you can pull up that plugin and try to replicate their EQ moves. I find the EQ decisions are the most important for matching the sonic character of a record. Matching audio processing is complex because multiple units may have been used to achieve their desired sound. This can be a challenge because they might have used a 1073 while tracking guitars, for example. Then during mixing they were using a Helios EQ, so you're really trying to match something quite complex. This process also makes you learn your audio processing tools more intimately. If you're trying to match reverbs, for example, you will be really delving into the sonic boundaries of your plugins. I'm sure you can foresee the benefits of this active learning session. The more production styles you actively set out to match, the more your sonic repertoire grows and evolves. You mature. You will be able to mix your sessions in the production styles you have learned. You will also develop your own style and taste in this process, being able to blend production styles in your work. You might get a rap session and decide you want to blend the production style of Dre's The Chronic with Drake's more modern Some Sexy Songs for You. You'll immediately start putting what you have learned to work in your own sessions. Referencing and matching production styles will dramatically improve your ear in identifying unknown frequency points and EQ curves. Eventually even being able to identify by ear what EQ moves were likely done. The more you practice, the faster and more precise you will become, quickly being able to analyze sonic signatures. This is all part of referencing, and it's the most important and beneficial learning session you can do to grow to a professional level. Your versatility will become apparent, especially when clients ask for a specific sound. It's no problem because you have practice in matching production styles. In an era where singles seem to be released rather than records, referencing will keep you fresh and modern and contribute to your evolution. The more you learn, the faster and better you get at learning. I'd like to mention the benefit of learning resources such as mix tutorials and written articles. These are basically the same as reference mixes, however a lot of the guesswork has been taken out of the equation. The key to learning from mix tutorials is understanding context. There is so much content available on the internet. My advice is go straight to the more reputable tutorials where you are learning from one of the greats or hopefully someone you admire. I suggest Mix with the Masters, Pure Mix, Nail the Mix, etc. If an engineer you like isn't doing mix tutorials, my advice is reach out and contact them to see if they are open to discussing their mixing style. You'd be surprised who got back to me by doing this. If you're on the fence about signing up for mix tutorials, my advice is don't hesitate. Your skills will improve rapidly. Seek out the tutorials where they really focus on their thought process and the why of their mix decisions. You need to learn about the motivation of their mix decisions within context. For example, you might see your favorite mixer boost 8 dB at 5 kHz on a kick. Obviously, this is not going to work on every kick you get, but what you do have is a frequency point that the engineer obviously likes in certain contexts. What you really need to learn now is why the boost of 8 dB. A lot of variables come into play here because the engineer may have adjusted this EQ at multiple stages during the mix. As the mix evolved, the engineer became better able to dial in this frequency boost. More than likely, this EQ setting was achieved while the other instruments were playing, so you need to focus on the context. For these mix tutorials to truly be of benefit, you need to familiarize yourself with what moves the engineer makes in what context. If the mix tutorial comes with a session file, this is another great learning resource. You are able to do the 8 decibel boost at 5 kHz on the same kick and really evaluate this decision. The more you understand an engineer's moves in context, the closer you become to understanding their skill set and taste. In summary, active learning sessions involve critically listening to a reference record and then mixing a multitrack in that production style. Regularly referencing the record using tools like Metric AB and a decibel meter helps you match EQ curves, compression behavior, and effects. This process enhances the ear for identifying frequency points and EQ curves, leading to a more versatile mixing style. When a session comes in, you may decide to mix in the style of Eric Valentine, or mix in the style of Andy Wallace, maybe a blend of the two, maybe even a blend of everything you've learned. Your own sonic signature is evolving. Your sonic repertoire is growing. I hope this helps some of you. A lot of engineers already know this, and they just need a reminder of the benefits. I'm the Pro Audio Journalist. I'll see you in part 2, tip 2. I'm very interested to know if anyone can guess what tip 2 is. Comment below.